miss filming, and I love ASMR and I love filming, but guys, the motivation has not been there. So because of that, I am so behind on my videos. So this is going to be my February reading wrap up. And by the way, if you just want to get to the reading wrap up part, maybe just skip ahead a couple of minutes. If you don't want to hear my waffling. But yeah, so this is going to be my February reading wrap up. Bearing in mind that we are fast approaching May. I think when I'm filming this, it's May in a couple of days' time. So yeah, I've got to film my February, March, and technically April reading wrap up. So yeah, I've definitely behind. But for anyone that watches my channel for my book content, maybe you will like that, because I'm gonna have quite a few book videos coming your way. I wasn't sure whether to do like my March and April reads in one video or to keep them separate. I think I will probably keep them separate. But I did think about maybe doing like one long video where it features my March and April reads, but I don't know, maybe let me know in the comments what you think, if you care. You might also notice I am in a completely different setup than usual. I just fancied a change of scenery, and we are having a hot spell in the UK at the moment, which is actually really nice. But my bedroom gets so hot, and also I think that one of the reasons I'm struggling to film as well is because where it gets darker in the summer, it gets darker so much later. So by the time the evening comes, like, the motivation to film is really low. So I thought, well, why don't I try filming some videos in the day? Not all of my videos are going to have this background, but I thought maybe for some of my book videos it might be quite nice to like mix it up. And I'm quite enjoying it actually. This is my bookcase. That's a light that I was supposed to move. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a little idea of where I've been. My hair is getting progressively frizzier since I've sat down, so it might be like out here by the end of the video, so apologies for that. But I am going to stop waffling now and get straight on into the video. So I don't have too many books to get through. I will say, sneak peek, I don't feel like I've been reading at a very fast pace recently. So I haven't got like 10 books to show you. And also, I am filming downstairs when I usually film upstairs, so I have a feeling there's definitely going to be more background noise. I'm hoping it will stay quiet, but just in case if you hear anything, that is why it definitely picks up more sound downstairs than it does when I'm usually filming. So sorry about that, but hopefully it's okay. We have our first book. Sega, Sager, Saga. I don't know. Sorry if that's really stupid, but this is Riley. And this is the only one left. And what I will say, guys, is you're gonna have to bear with me with this reading wrap up because these are books I read in February. That was like 3 months ago, and if you have read, if you have watched my videos before, you'll know that I forget about books quite a lot. So the fact that I read these months ago, this video might not be as detailed as usual because the chances are I can't remember what happened. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try for you. Okay, so this book follows a girl named, I think her name is Kit. I'm gonna say it's Kit. She recently loses her job as a caretaker, a care worker. Oh my god, it's gonna be a long video. She recently loses her job because of certain circumstances, but I'm not going to tell you about that. I'll leave that out. So she is desperate for work, and a carer job comes up, and it is to look after a lady named Lenora Hope. Lenora Hope is basically like known for killing her entire family, supposedly. However, there was never enough evidence, so she was never charged of anything, and it was kind of like an unsolved crime. So this job comes up, and Kit is like, well, I really don't feel comfortable taking this job, considering the circumstances of this woman and her past. But she's like in her 70s now, and she's essentially suffered like multiple strokes, so she's in a wheelchair. She has to have everything done for her. The only feeling she has left is in one of her hands, and that's it. The rest of her, she's completely like paralysed essentially. She doesn't speak, anything like that. So Kit decides to take this job reluctantly because she's desperate for work. But she's also extremely intrigued to see if she can find out what actually happened, because this was in, I can't remember when it was set, maybe like the 70s or something. So yeah, she takes the job, and she turns up at the Hope household, and it is this gigantic, really gothic, creepy mansion, and it is the same place she's lived her whole life, so that is where supposedly all the murders happened. So yeah, she turns up at this mansion to look after her and take care of Lenora Hope, and she basically tries to figure out what happened all those years ago and whether there's any truth to it. This book is a tricky one because I really liked like the first 50%, to be honest, probably more, like 50 to 70% of the book, and I will say there were parts of this after twist, towards the end, that is. And I was like, what is going on? I can't lie, at times I was like finding it a little bit hard to follow. I was like, I found it a bit much. So I feel like the last part of the book kind of made me lose my interest, which is really annoying because this has got like really good reviews and so many people love this book, but I found the ending a bit much. I think too much was going on personally for me. I find with like, especially with thrillers, I find less is more. And I don't particularly like it when the author just like chucks in loads of twists for the sake of it. I find it, I just find it too much. So, because of that, I think I only ended up giving this like a 3 stars, but I will say there were parts of the ending that I was like, oh wow, okay, I wasn't expecting any of it. And there were good parts of, like, good twists, but then it was just too much. There were too much going on. Okay, I don't know. If you like a really, really twisty ending, then maybe you'll love this. But as I said, I just found it too intense. I was just like, just calm down. I will say I've read a couple of Riley's books, and I just don't think they're for me. I think I might give up on this author. The last couple of books I've read by them, I'm like, I haven't particularly enjoyed, so I think this might be the last book that I read by this author. I don't think we're vibing, but that's okay. Let's move on. Next book. I'm so not used to filming in the day. It feels really strange. It feels nice though. Like, it's nice to have like natural light in. This sounds really different to the last book. So this is Ward D. Ward D by Frida McFadden. So this, sorry, my voice is breaking. This follows a medical student named Amy Bremner. I'll be honest, I'm pleased her name was on the back because I would not remember that her name was Amy. So Amy's a medical student, and as a part of her course, she has to spend the night on Ward D, and Ward D is a psychiatric unit. So, people with like severe mental health issues stay there, and she has to stay on the ward all night, and she's essentially locked down there, and she's been dreading this for ages. She's always known that she has to do it as a part of her course, but she just like has it in her head that she's just had it in her head for ages, like how worried she was about doing it, and she doesn't want to do it, and she's just really stressing about it. Amy ends up, sorry, I'm distracted looking outside. Amy ends up on the ward, and basically people start to go missing, and nobody knows where they're going, nobody knows how it's happening. She's freaking out, and just strange things keep happening on the ward, like creepy things, and is so annoying because that video ended up being about 45 minutes long, so I'm unable to use the rest of the footage. So I am now refilming a couple of days later. I'm hoping and praying that the audio works. I don't know if it was just like having a little blip or if I actually have something wrong with my microphone. The only way to properly test to see if the audio is going to cut out again is, I think, if I film in like 10-minute segments, and then I'll probably have to take my phone out, check to see if it's worked, plug my phone back in, and then film the rest and do it that way, because my audio, like, I can hear myself, so in my head it's working, but it's only once I like unplug everything and play it back is when I realise that it's not working. So sorry if there's a load of cuts in this video, but can't really be helped. Also, if anybody has a Blue Yeti and has experienced any like audio issues like this before, please let me know what you did to fix it. Yeah, that would be great. So, getting back into the book review, I also haven't stuck my nails on. I'm sorry. Again, I just didn't really want to go to the effort of sticking them on, and then the filming to not work, and then to just have to take my nails off. So I've been lazy. Also, I will shut up in a second. It's gone quite dark outside, so I feel like it's quite a lot darker compared to when I filmed it the other day. Anyway, the next book I read is Daisy Jones and the Six. So I remember around the time that this came out, I feel like everyone was talking about it and everyone was obsessed with it, but I never ended up buying it. However, I think I got this for like Christmas or something, and I'm so pleased I did, because I absolutely love this book. So this book follows Daisy Jones and the Six, and they are a rock band in the 70s, and actually cried. Did I cry at the end or a part near the end? Yeah, I think I did. And what I will say is this is also a TV series. It's on Amazon Prime, and I read this first and then I went back and watched the series, and the series was actually done so well. I was really worried that they weren't gonna do the book justice, but I loved the book and I also loved the series equally, which doesn't usually happen for me. So yeah, and it also, I feel like this really goes into detail about like the music writing process and how they get to the point of like all their lyrics coming together, and it actually has all the songs that they make in the back of the book, which I thought was really cool. And it was also really cool, obviously when you're reading the book. Sorry, I feel like I'm really distracted, I think because I've already filmed this once, so I've got like major deja vu. But yeah, I did actually give this 5 stars. I loved it. I thought it was so good. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. Sorry, I don't know if I mentioned that before, but the author is Taylor Jenkins Reid. Sorry, I just had a cough. But yeah, this was great. I thoroughly recommend this if you haven't read it already. Oh, that's what I was going to say. It was really interesting, obviously, reading it. They tell you a lot about the songs and the meaning behind the songs, and then obviously you see the lyrics in the back of the book, but obviously you can't picture them singing it because you don't know what their voices sound like, and you don't know like the harmonies and how everything comes together. And then when I watched the series, I was like, oh, that's so cool, because like you hear about the music in there in the book, and then going back to watching the series, you can actually properly hear the music. And I can't remember the actors and actresses' names in the series, but yeah, they have really good singing voices, and I feel like their voices definitely matched what I thought they would sound like, if that makes sense. Anyway, read this book. Okay, next book. We have The Great Alone by Kristen Hannah. Now, this is another author that I have heard so much about. So many people love her, and if you look at her books on like Amazon or Goodreads, she has like hundreds of thousands of amazing reviews. So I was like, I really need to see what the fuss is about. I did actually pick this up a while ago, so it has been sat on my bookcase a while. The reason why I haven't read it up until now is because this is a historical fiction book, which I haven't read many of these books, but I will say they are a little bit different to my usual go-to books. So I knew that when I was going to read this, I needed to go like, all in, no distractions, and like really focus on it. I will say this for me I'm very pleased that I persisted with this because this book was so good, and I can totally see why people really like her. I feel like this has a good cover for like sticky sounds. Anyway, so The Great Alone is about the Albright family. So we have the dad, who is called Ernst, we have the mum called Cora, and the daughter called Lenny. And this is told from Lenny, the daughter's point of view, and she is 13 at the start of the book. So it follows the Albright family, and basically her dad comes back from the war, and he is a completely different man. He comes back very angry, very aggressive, extremely irritable, and just basically a completely changed man. And you know, he obviously has PTSD, he obviously struggles with his anger, and he just has a very like erratic nature. So he comes back from the war and he can't seem to keep a job down. He loses his job, and he then decides to move to Alaska with his family. He wants a completely like different life. Like he just wants a like fresh start, I guess. So they decide to move to Alaska, and it is like a completely different world to what they were used to. It's obviously in the middle of absolutely nowhere. They have these like their winters are, you know, hours and hours of darkness. It's very isolating. They have to go out and like hunt for their meals, and there's no electricity, there's no, you know, like all of those basic things. They have none of that. They end up like living in this shack, which is a total like mess as soon as they get there. So they have to basically work their asses off. Even what's her name? Lenny. Even Lenny, and she's 13. Like they have all of these like really strict like set chores that they have to do every single day. Like they basically just spend the whole day working, and I feel like this focuses on their family dynamic. It focuses a lot on Lenny's relationship with her mum. Okay, I am refilming this again. Third time lucky. Oh, this is so annoying because I now can't remember what I said about this book and what I haven't said, because it cut out like halfway through my review of this book. So if I repeat anything, I'm sorry. This book essentially focuses on Lenny and her family and them surviving in this new life in Alaska, and yeah, it is about survival, I will say, and their family life and the different dynamics. It's annoying, I really want to speak about this a lot, but for some reason, whenever I film for like 10 minutes or more, it cuts out. So I'm probably not going to speak about this for too long in case it happens again. But yeah, this also focuses on Lenny. She meets a boy called Matthew and their love story, and it's adorable. Like it is just like this, oh, it's so sweet. So you have that going on as well. This is a very emotional story. I will say check the trigger warnings with this story because it features a lot of like intense intense topics. It's very emotional. I think like towards the end of the book I was crying hard. Like, it was just so emotional, and it just, I don't know, it got me in all the feels. And as I said, I could speak about this book for a while, but I'm worried my mic's gonna cut out again. I will also say, Kristen's writing is amazing. I just feel like she builds a picture so well. I will say her writing is very, very descriptive, which I'm not actually usually a big fan of, because sometimes I find it's like big, chunky, descriptive paragraphs I sometimes find quite annoying. Like, they're just trying to fill the, like, do you know what I mean? They're just trying to fill the book. I don't know, but it's not like this at all with this book. I mean, it did take me a while to get used to the description, but I feel like with her writing and her storytelling, it's necessary, because I could, like, vividly picture myself there, and that's all down to her writing. I just feel like you can really, really imagine yourself there and picture everything perfectly, so I do completely understand why her writing is like that, and I can imagine, I mean, I obviously don't know if it's certain because I haven't read her other books, but I can imagine her writing is probably like that in her other books as well. But she's an amazing writer, and this was an emotional roller coaster, this book. I did give it 4 stars, and I would definitely be reading more of her books. And she certainly made me hate the dad, that's for sure. He is a very, very unlikable character. But yeah, I would have spoken about this book for longer because I do feel like it deserves it, but this bloody audio is doing my head in. So yeah, I'm going to move on to the next book now. Okay, last book. And we have The 7 Years Slip by Ashley Boston. So this book, again, one of those books that's very hyped up. Lots of people seem to love. I can't say that I felt the same about this book. I really, really wanted to love this book, but I simply didn't. I think, in my opinion, I do feel like this book is overhyped. I think it was ASMR for Everyone who also shared that same opinion, which I'm thankful for, because, you know, I don't want to be the only person that wasn't really into this book. But, you know, you win some, you lose some. This is, why is my neck like red? It's probably the stress of refilming this for like 50 times. So this is about Clementine. I love that name, I think it's so cute. Clementine she had a really, really, really close relationship with her aunt. They had a lovely relationship. They were so close. They used to go on like little trips process of this magical apartment, she meets a guy. I can't remember his name. She meets a guy and falls for him. So there's sort of like the back and forth of like the present and the past of when she's like, you know, going back in time with her magical apartment, and that's basically all it's about.